Welcome to our international podcast, folks. We were on the ground outside of the Outertown Conference Center where the National Assembly is housed and caught up with some folks protesting an issue there. We're going to get that to you in just a little bit. And that's the reason we're on late, because we want to make sure we have credible, valid information for you folks. Let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear. Clear Capel. Clear Capel. Let's know if you're hearing us clearly. Beatrice Selby. Good to see you, Beatrice. Let us know if you're hearing us clearly out there, guys. Please let us know if you're hearing us clearly. Good to have you, Ayabo, Natasha Congraves, and Ian Henry. Beatrice says loud and clear. Thanks, technician Beatrice Selby. Good to see you, Beatrice. Hope you're well. Yvonne Ramastar, good to have you. Ian Harry says loud and clear. Thanks, technician Ian. Sound engineer Ian. Anna Gordon. Maureen Williams. Engineer Maureen Williams. Thank you. Sound engineer. Good to have you, Maureen and Janice Booker. Ayabo Natasha Congraves, Claire, and all the other guys joining us. We're going to let you know what's happening in front of National Assembly. Janice Booker, Manila Garnett. Good to have you, and we're going to say best wishes to all our colleagues who've gone back into the National Assembly. There are 8 of us who are still in suspension, and one of our programs during the week, we can focus on that. 8 of us are still in suspension, including yours truly. You know how it is. But we're still out here, folks. We're still warring. They try to take bread out of your mouth, but we're still warring. Yvonne Ramastar, good to see you, Yvonne. All the other folks joining us. Good to have you. Free up the weed, folks. That's one of the issues we're going to be contending with in the next few minutes. Free up the weed. You know, interestingly, when I hear about road accidents, you hear about people who are inebriated, people who are drunk. You know, they're not in all the faculties. As a matter of fact, their faculties are inhibited by alcohol. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't want to pretend, but I haven't heard anybody crashed a car or so on because they were high on marijuana. I haven't heard it as yet. Marijuana usage, crash the car, hit somebody down, maim somebody. I haven't heard it. But alcohol is legal. And marijuana is a prohibition. Well, we'll be talking about that in a couple of minutes. Good to have you, Yvonne, Ramasar, and all the other folks who are joining us. Great to have you guys share the live. What's for lunch? You let us know. What's the weather like? Good to have you. I'm seeing about 12 comments from Yvonne. All of the emojis Yvonne is utilizing. None is spared. None is spared. Folks, a lot of stuff happening weather-wise in the region. A lot of stuff happening weather-wise. But we hope that you guys are great in spite of. We hope that you guys are great in spite of what the weather is doing. They're telling us at weather.com it's 28 degrees outside the national capital city. They're also telling us it feels like 37. We really trust you guys are great. It feels like, they tell us, it feels like 37. Well. We're going to take what we get, folks. And we go, wait to what? It could have been raining cats and dogs. It's sunny outside. Yep. Good to have you, folks. Good to have you. Wherever you're joining us from. Ayabo Natasha. Ayabo says it's cold and dark in Sheffield, Yorkshire. My Lord. Ayabo is in Sheffield. Am I calling it right? Yeah, Sheffield, Yorkshire. Some folks might say Yorkshire. York. She's in York, folks. Sheffield. Good to have you guys. Great to have you. Rick, embrace it over. Do any of you guys out there use marijuana? Do any of you guys use ganja? Maybe you understand it better. Do you folks use ganja? Ganja. Well, we spoke to the Rastafarian communities, the members of the community. One man from the house of Nyabingi. Yep. You got a lot to say on that. You got a lot to say on that, folks. Yolanda Thomas, good to see you. Barbara, good to see you. Debbie Hohenkirk, good to see you. Good to see you, good folks out there. Wherever you're joining us from, whether it's home in Guyana or you guys are in the diaspora, you're somewhere in Region 11 to the far flung corners of the earth. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. Weather wise, folks. We saw this morning in Dominica, flooding, St. Lucia, flooding. Yep. Flooding. Is it hurricane season, guys? Can somebody from the islands tell us? Is it? Well, is it? Is it? Is it? June Daniels, McKinnon, Pamela Chari. Good to have you. Great to have you, folks. The weather is very mercurial. But good to have you folks here with us. Great to have you folks, as a matter of fact. Great to have you folks. This morning in FYI, we were talking about the Bishop of Problems. The Bishop of Problems. You know, there are some problem people. Yep. Got some real problem people. A lot of them. Crisis Bingo Burn, good afternoon to you too. Tessa Lane says she's watching from Tessa Lane Eastman, please and thank you. Says she's watching from Brooklyn. Good to have you in the house, Tessa. Stanley Long says share the damn life. Folks, don't follow what Stanley says. Please follow what Stanley said. Stanley knows best. Stanley knows best, folks. Share the like for us. Smash that emoji button. And we are really happy to have you. A number of things happening in the National Assembly we want to draw to your attention. And then we head to what we were doing on the ground outside the National Assembly today. We're going to talk about that. But the National Assembly is reconvening after about a 3 months hiatus. You know, the boys don't like from far off. They talk about what? They talk about a robust legislative agenda. We know so much about that. We know how robust it is. It might just be a bus agenda. Robust is another thing. They said on the agenda for this section of Parliament, constitutional reform. As the boys say. Constitutional reform is on the agenda. In addition to that, folks, they're going to be talking about suicide prevention, criminal justice is also on the agenda there. And then the whole issue of cannabis use, cannabis is a type of marijuana, ganja. We're talking about its usage as well because it comes up, regulation comes up. Yep. Constitutional reform, suicide prevention, criminal justice, and the marijuana bill come up for interrogation for debate today. It comes up, and folks, have the privilege. We have the privilege of being outside the National Assembly underground today. And we want to get a sense from the Rastafarian community themselves. What are the issues at stake here? What don't we know about this process? Only a couple of things. Rastafarians say that ganja is part of their religious sacrament. They ain't got time with that. So we want to hear from them ourselves. What's happening? Ourselves. That's what we wanted to hear. But in addition to that, or as we begin proper, guys, this is the anniversary month. This is the anniversary month. So while them guys talking about constitutional reform, according to them, they were talking about suicide prevention, criminal justice, and this ganja legislation. We out here bringing you valid, credible information. And that's why we encourage you folks to partner with us. Partner with us. Partner with me. Right? Partner with us, folks. So we can continue to bring you valid, credible information. It's my passion. My passion. Is that how he pronounces passion? It's something. You know, we let extra on these parts. Jenny's book is my passion. He's linking Ramilianda and all you folks. All the guys joining us on YouTube. Great to have you as well. It's our passion. It's my passion. So here are the thoughts of some of our brothers from the Rastafarian community, folks, who gathered outside the National Assembly, sitting in the Arthur Young Conference Center, Lilliandale, just before we came on the program. That is what detained us, folks. Oh, no, we ain't gonna let every 19 detain us from the program. But once we're on late or we don't have a show, no, it's something of importance. We only back to some class making airplanes. We in a little pool of water, you know, sailing boats, toy boats, but we're pursuing valid, credible information. Patricia Graves Andy is joining us on YouTube. One of our young tubers, Patricia Graves Andy. Good afternoon to you and all the other folks joining us. Folks, just a big favor, share the live and smash that emoji button for us. Here's that conversation we had a few minutes earlier with members of the Rastafarian community in Guyana. Here's that.
That Rasta use to send up I prayers and I worship to I Father. That is what it means. Right? It is there in Revelation where it says that the angel, right, sent up the prayers of the saints with the smoke of the incense. Right? So that is essentially how I use it to give prayers and praise and thanks unto I Father.
Talking about that, you mentioned CARICOM. CARICOM has done an extensive study on this matter, and they've had lots of recommendation, which talks about, as you guys are saying, you lifting this ban because the science has now overtaken the law on this issue. Talk to us about some of the perhaps medicinal benefits. You talk about the spiritual benefits, perhaps some of the medicinal benefits of using cannabis and ganja as we know it.
Yes, well, we had like Sanjay Gupta, the doctor on CNN, who did an extensive documentary on all of the different medical benefits that are derived from cannabis. I think they even followed the story of a young lady who suffered severely from seizures and these things, and just about 2 drops of the cannabis in her mouth, and the seizure stopped. Right, so those are just a few of some of the uses, but cannabis can also be used in different forms for pains and all these different things, right? A lot of the ailments that old people suffer with, joint pains and all these things, cannabis has shown through experiment to relieve these symptoms tremendously, right? So it is, and that is one of the things that research has shown, because people said that they're afraid that if you free up this thing, that young people gonna start abusing it and all these different things. Jamaica has done it since 2015, and the statistics show that there's been no increase in usage among young people. Where the increase comes internationally in countries that have liberalized it is among the elderly population, who are now flocking to it and utilizing it to alleviate their illnesses, old age illnesses, and so on.
I'm not certain whether you guys may be in agreement with me in terms of the history of its usage in the region, but I think according to that CARICOM study, lots of East Indians brought cannabis from India. It was heavily used among the East Indians.
There's a sacrament in Hinduism.
And then when you had the advent of alcohol in the Caribbean and the big companies producing alcohol, you had this kind of ban on cannabis to allow the consumption of more alcohol. And we know locally too, a lot of folks use cannabis, your community being, and also you have lots of high officials. Why do you think, the point I want to make, why do you think there's this kind of hypocrisy with the use of cannabis? You don't want to lift the legislation, but yet it is used in secret.
The use, I think, is compounded by not only racism. Racism is one aspect, but you have classism as well, right? Because if you have the upper class using it and the lower class using it, but the laws only apply to the people downstairs, the lower class, then it shows that there's a certain contempt for the people, the lower class. It's not a contempt for the use of cannabis because they use it. It's a contempt for the people downstairs who are using it, right? So there's that class and racial dynamic, because you might go to other countries in the Caribbean where you don't have the race dynamic, like for example Jamaica and so on, but the laws are there to doing the same thing, right? Being draconian and sending poor people and low class, working class people to prison for just a spliff and all these things, right? So the class aspect of it, again, stressing the point that is not just this government, but we had the previous government as well who hesitated in doing something because the opportunity was before them as well, right? Again, that definitely shows classicity, because the law affected tremendously and disproportionately members of their constituency, and they did nothing about it. I know the AFC attempted, to bring some amount of ease to it, but there was a conflict within the coalition concerning it, and we are left out here, to confront this new government, to recognize our rights.
The AG would have mentioned that there's a certain percentage that will be allowed from this bill here, and a certain percentage will not be allowed. What really is the contention? Are you seeking for more than what he's asking for?
No. We are asking for the recognition of the rights of the Rastafari community to utilize cannabis as a sacrament. That means that we're supposed to be exempt from any form of prosecution under this act, right? But Rastafari is not mentioned in the bill. So that's the main contention. Also, they've moved the threshold for trafficking from 15 to 30, right? And they said from 1 to 15 is counseling, and from like 16 to 30 you have community service. Now, if you hold a Rasta man with the sacrament and send it to the magistrate send it to counseling, what is the counselor going to tell the Rasta man? That you shouldn't smoke marijuana. There's a part of our religious belief and practice, and it would go against the professional ethics of any counselor to try and counsel someone away from the religious belief, right? So you putting the counselors now in an ethical dilemma when they have to be faced with such a situation, right? But again, we told the committee that, and they did not take it into consideration. Also, we know that the law usually targets the poor and the working class people, right? Now, if it is that a person is sent to counseling or to community service and they miss a day, then they're liable to a fine of 250,000 Ghana dollars, right? And also prison time, right? So that's what we're talking about, right?
If it seems as though this bill will pass,
Mhm.
what's the next move? I mean,
Well, I think the obvious move would be maybe to take it to court, but we'd have to consider, because resources are required to do that.
My brother, just to piggyback on my colleague's question, you talked about moving the allowance from 15 to 30 grams. What would, in your mind, based on your religious beliefs and all that, be a fair amount legally?
We had told the previous government, and I think we'd maintain the position that what had obtained in Jamaica would have been a good, an acceptable start for us, which is 56 grams, right? Which is 2 ounces, right? For personal use. And then you would have had a certain amount of plants that you could have planted in a yard and so on, right? So that would have been acceptable to us as a starting off, because ultimately we're saying that cannabis should be entirely removed from under the Narcotic Act, because the studies have shown that it has medicinal benefit and therefore it should not be classified as a dangerous drug, right? It should not be classified as a dangerous drug. Therefore, it should be completely removed from the Dangerous Drug Act, right? It has no place there. And that is what we're seeing happening in America and in Canada and all these different countries.
so you plan to address those who want to traffic this amount or more than that? How do you justify that?
Well, the ideal thing would be to remove it from the Narcotic Drug Act and create a new act that would regulate the industry of cannabis. So if we say, well, from 20 plants up, then you're gone into the business of cannabis and you should have the requisite license and permits and these things. If you don't have it, then you gotta pay whatever fine or whatever it is you have to do. But ideally, that's what we would like to see, right? That is removed from the Narcotic Drug Act because it is not a dangerous drug. CARICOM has told them that. UN has told them that through rescheduling it and so on, right? And put it in an act by itself in order to regulate it.
What are your thoughts on the fact that this was on the, at least on the legislative agenda first, and then hemp seemed to come out of nowhere
Right.
and has already gotten approval? That market seems to be regulating now, and then we're still fighting this battle
Right.
on legalizing ganja use, at least for the Rastafarian community. Your thoughts?
Yes. Well, you have some powerful business lobby pushing the hemp industry. So I think that is one of the consideration. And then you have what's happening too. You have politics behind it, where the rice industry is failing, and so I think the government is looking to replace the rice industry with the hemp industry to satisfy its constituent base. Right. I think that's one of the main consideration. But also their support base, like in Region 6 and so on, plant marijuana as well. Because we see every time they are, a field is bossing these things, predominantly over 90% is in Region 6, right? And that's their stronghold, right? So that is what we think in terms of the hemp. They're looking to replace the failing sugar industry with the hemp in order to satisfy their support base.
The Attorney General recently, I think, met with the community, and part of what he said was that a delicate balance need to be met. How do you interpret that?
That's nonsense, and that's a blatant lie too. Because what he's saying is that the country is divided down the middle on this issue. The Parliamentary Select Committee opened up for submissions, and 100% of the submissions that they got, and I heard it from his own mouth, right, called for decriminalization, which is not what this bill is addressing, right? 100% of the submissions said to the government and the Attorney General that what they're putting forward is unacceptable, right? But they insist on pushing it for the reasons that we mentioned earlier, right? So if you're going to hide behind, yes, if you're going to hide behind this notion of the country being split, where are the people, the other half of the population that is opposed to this thing? Even the IRO sent out a letter to the media saying that they support Rastafari call for the recognition of our religious rights, right? But the government, on the other hand, is saying that the religious community is opposed to this. But where are they? Where are the religious leaders? Go and let them come forward and say that, well, they're against this thing.
Is this
You
a
know?
true representation of the Rastafari?
No. You see what happened? What happened is that it's just over the weekend that we heard that the bill was coming on Monday. So I basically, called a few ones and this was the response. So we had no time to prepare on anything.
And we have
Name for the record, please.
I'm Raskafro, General Secretary, Rastafari Council.
Greetings in the name of His Imperial Majesty and Haile Selassie to the nation of Guyana. Now, at this time here, the bill that the Attorney General and the government is trying to pass is a railroad bill. For we had confrontation and reasoning with the AG. It was the month of May, when we had the protest, July. Him did promise that he's going to set up a committee, and after this committee set up, they're going to have consultation on the marijuana issue. So they're going to contact us. I'm from the House of Nyabingi. Now, they never did. They set up the committee, but it was a kind of pussyfooting thing going on. Now, then we get a letter claiming that we must put forward our proposal on this bill, our submission. We did that. They show that the Attorney General did lie. He never called, no consultation, and come to push a bill through Parliament. That this bill doesn't have nothing concerning I spiritual, as they say, religious, and I cultural way of life as Rastafari in this country. Now he's putting out, I saw on what is it, parliamentary agenda. He's saying that half of the population want this and half of the population. What I'm saying, collectively or separately, does this population have jurisdiction over the constitutional law of this country? The Constitution says freedom to religious rights and practice. So that should, the AG is so bright, that should be taken forcefully in consideration when they're thinking of passing this bill, that they want to railroad on I. This is a racist, discrimination, and evil, disrespective. You are against the Rastafari community. It's like slavery. How are you going to tell a man like I, who is 40 odd years born in marijuana, that got to council? Which council look council like? What experience? Which for born? What kind of experience do they have? I ain't gonna tell you if I'm gonna do community service. I will tell you you're disrespectful. I ain't going nowhere. You don't tell you if you do community service for I sacrament, I medicine, and I food. That's what we use marijuana for. You know what I mean? So this thing is a serious thing, you know. And then the government going about and say, one Guyana for all. Guyana for all. Guyana for all. Where? And where Rasta stand there? As an ethnic group. Where I now stand in this Guyana for all? We ain't got no rights. The Amerindian have the rights. All ethnic groups have the right. What about the Rastafari for over 40 years been going through all this discrimination? You know what I mean? For a nice sacrament. This thing is a serious thing. And it's the total discrimination against an ethnic group. And then where's the ERC and all this place, people them? Where's this? Are they speaking for I? So who? So I compare and I will never cease the fire until they come down.
Let me say something here. Let's get from you. Let's get from you, sir.
I just want to get a sense from you guys about the quality of the consultation. My brother raised the point. What are your thoughts about the quality of the consultation process that they had promised?
Well, there was an outreach in Linden, and myself and my brother there, we went to that outreach. And we had a personal reason with the Vice President, Brother Jack Dio, and explained to him that the CARICOM had a report. And I told him from my point of view, the most important thing about that report is that it said, at the time the law was passed, we did not have the availability of testing. I said, Mr. Jagio, then they got away with just making the law and just doing it. I said, but now they say that because they know now testing has been done. And I had 2 DVDs on medical marijuana and cannabinoids. And I said, Mr. Jagio, these 2 DVDs I have here have all the tests because that's what they have. They have the white guys in America telling you what state, what year, what this, everything. And they giving a report of the tests that they did. They test for cancer, they compare it with tobacco, etc., etc. And they say every 10 years they have this test. And every time the same answer come up. They put it this way, they see no reason why cannabis should be on the A list of drugs, which is like cocaine and heroin and all of that, because they don't see that kind of effect of cannabis. I want to come again though to Guyana now. Is the Constitution the supreme law of the land? Does Mr. Nandalal know that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land and not him and anyone else? Because, and those majority people that he's talking about, do they know the Constitution and not them because they're a majority? It has nothing to do with majority. The Constitution had specific laws to protect specific people. And it has laws to protect the religious side of people. And Article 138F says this: no person, not even group, but because it covers everybody in the country, no person's religion or religious belief shall be vilified. That is the quote. You can't call me drug dealer and drug user and start using drugs. You can't say that because you're vilifying me. Because the next thing you mean is to throw me in jail. And this is what you're telling to the judiciary. When the Constitution says no person, which is me, no person's religion or religious belief. Anyone know me in any other religious belief since in the 70s? You ever see me going in another church, some other thing? No, I always had the Rasta program. And in fact, I'm a treasurer in the House and I have been here since 2011. I was here at the convention with the International Year of People of African Descent. And the thing is recognition. But Rastafari hasn't get recognized. They pretend that we are recognized and they talk to us and invite us to things. But we are not recognized because Rasta means praising the God of Ethiopia, as Marcus Garvey said, which enough black people don't know, since the 1920s. Before Selassie was carnated, he said, we black people shall see God through the spectacles of Ethiopia. Because there was no Guyana then, Trinidad, Barbados. The only place independent was Ethiopia. Because these places were British Empire. There was no independent Guyana or Trinidad or Jamaica or anywhere else. So all African people looked towards Ethiopia. And they were trying to conquer Ethiopia also when Majesty came. And that is our headstone, Ethiopia. It's in the Bible that the white man claims is his own. I'm certain he didn't put it there. But we Africans have been, as Malcolm X said, bamboozled. Till to this day, people call me bamboozling us when the Constitution says clearly that every person's religion has to be respected. Every person. My religion is not yours. And it seems these things only happen to African people. So I am saying that African people do not have the same religion like most Indian people, most European people, most that. And we have to be respected. Else it means you don't respect us.
Discrimination.
And you think we're idiots for smoking marijuana, but we have proven it from since in the 70s. Bob Marley is not an idiot.
Definitely not.
So I just want to give thanks about the Constitution of Guyana. People need to go and read it, Article 138, and know that the government, Mr. Nandalal, and they are violating the Constitution of Guyana, putting themselves above it. Thank you.
I want to ask another question, and then you can jump right in, or maybe you can help us answer. They talked about this half of the population. Where did they get that from? When was that study done? When was those questionnaires handed out? Were you guys polled? You ever get a poll asking you your thoughts on?
But he said that it has been fine-tuned. I don't know.
Right? When was this poll conducted? This survey? You know.
People tell you tricks. People tell you lies. People tell you things to deceive. Black people been hearing these things from 500 years ago, and we gotta stop with it. Mr. Nandanal and them can't say these things. They gotta respect us equally. Because, as a matter of fact, he's younger than me. So younger people come in without knowledge and disrespecting people against the physical reality of the earth. Marijuana will be here. Mr. Nandalal will die and marijuana will be here. And we will be smoking marijuana. No matter how long the law existed, we were smoking marijuana. And we as African people have that right. And he needs to understand that and respect us. That's what needs to happen. Especially as the Constitution shows it. Right? So it's human rights got to do with it. And the international decade is here when this thing going on, where black religion is not respected. Right? Are recognized. Put it away, because that's what it. Justice, recognition, justice, and development is what is the three criteria that you have to deal with African people. And recognition is the force. And obviously we are not recognized.
I hear my brother. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, well, what I would like to say is that the law on marijuana was imposed on the people of Guyana. In the first place, it was illegal. Because right now, you got a constitution, right? Whereby it's only more than treason that you don't get bail. How you put marijuana right in then they carried out they set up a justice review committee when they had the prisoner burned down, and the committee found out that it was caused by the overcrowding of the prison that was caused by locking up too many people for marijuana. So what it found is that the bar and the bench was violating the rights of the citizen. Right, and that happened for how much years? The Sin High Tide bring it in. Then in 1999, they strengthened it. Now, you've been violating my rights, and you putting me as a murderer and a man who commit treason. Now, look at the amount of homes that broke up, right? The amount of money that we got to pay the liars, right? You're still going to prison. It's a big expense. So I think now that you've overstepped your bound, right? You've violated our rights by sending us to prison for something that should be bailable that you say is no bail. So that was a state violation of the constitutional rights of the prison of the citizens. Now, seeing that you did this for so much years, right? You can now pay back the citizens. First thing, let out everybody in jail for ganja. Let out everybody in jail for ganja. Any ganja growing now, we want what the people in Jamaica get or better. We want the rights to grow ganja, set up a medical thing and hemp and everything. If you understand, but in any case now, the government need a court case brought against them because you violated my rights. You used to come at people's house with a dustpan and sweep, and if you get saved, your family break up. Because the breadwinner gone to jail for 3 years. It's a serious thing, right? So we want now, what you actually come to do? You don't come to apologize. They are the state of Antigua, everybody apologizes. So they see the Rasta could have dead. Right, so we want to know if this thing is racism. We want to know if it's in dude vocal is a movement right now. Then the art, or if it's religious. Now the next thing, marijuana, the home of marijuana is the Congo. The next thing, well, the one say the fake, but marijuana is reputed to be the first plant cultivated by the human being. Now we used to gather. Now if this plant you won't find it today. It had to be something that they found that marijuana had and no other plant they had. That this plant was the first plant that they. You understand what I'm showing you? Then in the Bible, we used to use it in Moses' time. Cannabis, some they call it. In the incense burners in Jerusalem, they had marijuana, frankincense, and more. Because rum is with the Roman Catholics, is you, but we use, because the smoke has got up. Right, the rum and thing has got on. You understand what I'm showing? It's a serious, so it's a serious thing with our rights. You lock us up wrongfully for X amount of years, no bail. From the time we come, no bail. And up to now, watch. They found some men with some guns in the garden. Then go home and search them. If it's gone to the gun home and search the man house, and he can't get bail. So it's a serious thing that's going on, and the people of the country got to talk up, right? Anyway, this is just what we like to.
Thank you. Thank you, folks. Thank you.
I would love to say one more thing before you leave. The same country that imposed this law, the same country that imposed the law on Guyana, United States of America, the other day, free up marijuana, and all the prisoners that were locked up get exempt from the crimes. So I think the government of this country should look into this bill very seriously, because the outer world is moving away. Where industrial marijuana and medical marijuana is concerned and recreational marijuana, it becomes $1 million business. $1 billion business around the world. And the big countries, first world countries, are capitalizing it, and we're still behind, far behind. When we take this idea to the previous government and show them about the industrial and medical uses of marijuana, they turn us down. This is why we're in the problem today, where we're dying. Because our previous government had the chance to pass this bill, to pass this bill. As you know, we went in confrontation with them, and they did not. They said wait until the CARICOM Commission carry out the inquiry into the marijuana, and they did it around the Caribbean. And they come up with either decriminalization or legalization. And President Granger come up with what? Low custodial sentence. I don't even understand what is it unto this day. So we are African people, we got ourselves to blame sometimes too.
Been the one thing. Yes. Talk to us about. Good to have each and every one of you on the live. We promise valid, credible information. And as I said, we like to keep our word around these parts. Valid, credible information, folks. That is how the folks feel on that subject of ganja. Ganja use is part of the sacrament. Share the live, folks. Smash that emoji button for us. Boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. That's what boots on the ground looks like, folks. That's what it sounds like. The guys have an issue and they are representing out there, folks. They're representing boots on the ground, guys. Joan Halley, good to see you. Commissioner Cole, Eric Greenwich, good to see you. This is part of the sacrament, it's part of the religious belief. Folks, we got to wade through these issues as a country, as a village, as a community. We can't just bulldoze we way in. It's today for the Rastafarian, it's tomorrow for the rest of us. But y'all don't know my heart is dread. Me like them, they got to hear not up there, they're going to say, I with y'all. I with y'all. I's only a spiler. I's only play a spiler. I with y'all. Wicked. I with y'all. Is this story? Folks, share the light. We got a statement coming out of the National Assembly. Stay with us. We're gonna bring that to you in a second. We promise valid, credible information. We can only do that, folks. Unfortunately, we don't run out of water. I'm sipping some cold coffee behind this side. Behind these pots. Sipping some cold coffee. Unfortunately, we don't run out of water, folks. We need your support to keep going. And this is the anniversary month. So we encourage you guys to partner with us. Please and thank you. Partner with us. So we can continue to bring you valid, credible information. We headed down what we want y'all hear them by saying. Our Rastafarian brothers and sisters, we brought you the totality of the comments. And if they continue to talk for 2 hours, we would have been there, recording it and bringing it to you. We can bring you 30 seconds soundbite. We promise valid, credible information, and that's what we bring in.
Right? That's what we bring in, folks. Valid, credible information. So
The PPP continues to make the National Assembly into an institution that does not serve the people of Guyana. The government's refusal to
apologies there. We're too excited around these parts. We're too excited around these parts. We're too excited, folks. We're much too excited. But we want to encourage you folks to continue to partner with us. That's what we want to say. Everybody's gone to the statement coming out already. You know, we quick on the draw here. As soon as you say, hey, statement, everybody say, hey, come through. Our apologies there. But we want you folks to partner with us. That's how we keep going, you know. We got a little team at the back here doing the research, collecting the footage, you know, bringing those comments to you. And we can't do it for free, unfortunately. It takes something to keep the lights on, you know, to keep the internet going, to keep the doors open. And this is how we do it. Right? This is how we do it. Unfortunately, it takes a few dollars to keep this wheel turning on this side. So anniversary month, we're 2 years out here. We certainly by now, you guys have seen we've been good stewards with your finances. We're available via Cash App, via Zelle, PayPal, MMG, MoneyGram, Western Union. You have any queries? 627-6963. That's the number you might want to call. Each donation, as we say here, goes towards moving these programs forward, advancing them, perpetuating them, multiplying them. Yep, valid, credible information. You're going to find it no place else. You think you can see our Rastafarian brothers and sisters with that length of time on NCN? In Cranticle? And DPI? Where? No, you can see propaganda for them boys. Propagandizing the nation. Partner with us so we can continue to bring you valid, credible information. Folks, moments ago in the National Assembly, the parliamentary opposition led by Ms. Aubrey C. Norton, leader of the opposition, the Honorable Member of Parliament, Aubrey C. Norton, and Kemraj Ramjatan issued a statement based on the fact that the Speaker of the National Assembly, the hypocrite, Mansour Nadir, disallowed the Abdu AFC motion on a clean list. It's rig them boys rigging, you know. Rig them boys rigging. Look, they're talking about marred elections across town at the COI. But on the other side of town, everybody want to clean up the list that can save us from having another COI in a couple of months. Who is the riggers? The PPP. It's them as the riggers. Folks, share the live. Smash that emoji button for us. Y'all got an emoji looking thin. Don't got me out here looking thin, folks. Anna Gordon, Isabella Butters, Ivan Ramasar. Don't got me out here looking thin. We beg of you. Don't got me out here looking thin. So moments ago, folks, at the National Assembly, the leader of the opposition and the parliamentary opposition put out a statement on this dastardly act, another dastardly act by this hypocrite and hypocrite of a speaker, Mansour Nadir. And here is what they said. Here is what they said, folks. Again, remember to partner with us. Here's what they said.
Because critical issues such as the high cost of living, the increase in poverty, alleged bribery and corruption involving Barra Jack Day, the unwillingness to debate natural gas flaring, and now their refusal to permit the Assembly to address the issue of the enactment of constitutional and statutory amendments to facilitate a clean voters list are clear indications that the government is not democratic and they have no interest in or commitment to parliamentary democracy. In addition, the government has emasculated the Public Accounts Committee, thus preventing the scrutiny of the taxpayers' money. The sabotaging of the PAC's testimony that the government is corrupt and incompetent and therefore does not and cannot afford to be scrutinized. It is opposite to note here that non-scrutiny would facilitate corruption and pave the way for the further misuse of the resources emanating from the oil and gas sector. Even as the government is avoiding scrutiny of the taxpayer money, they refuse to increase the wages and salaries of public servants. This refusal to give the people increases amidst increased windfall income from the oil industry is a clear manifestation that the government does not care about the people of Guyana. Their focus is ensuring the PPP elite friends, families, and favorites benefit from our national patrimony. The society is also experiencing a total disrespect to the people of Guyana. There is no respect for the rule of law. The suspension of 8 opposition MPs without a hearing is ridiculous and unacceptable, since it brings the non-compliance with the rule of law in the very chambers that should be protecting the law. Since then, government disrespect for the rule of law has also been manifest in the total disregard for the legal profession. The arrest of Mr. Mika Clark by Suku is another clear indication that the PPP does not subscribe to the rule of law. The foregoing leads one to the conclusion that it cannot be business as usual, and it is in this context that our walkout of the National Assembly must be seen. Thank you.
Yep. And that was out of the National Assembly, folks. Just a few minutes ago, as we're learning that the parliamentary opposition walked out of the National Assembly, again, over the speaker's, again, refusal to put that motion on the order paper. As a matter of fact, they disallowed the motion, reject the motion. We're seeing the headlines. Reject this motion on a clean list. Why they want a clean list? Yolanda Thomas, Blackish Shelley, Yvonne Ramasar, Prince Rogers. Why they want a clean list? They're like the Rastafarians. They want a clean list. Who this people's for? Who this government for? Who this regime for? They're for the self. That's what we want, children. They're for the self. They're for the self. These are some of the things we're following. Them boys for the self. They're for nobody else. They're for me. They're for you. Who the for? Who the for? You see this? We counting we. They ain't counting nobody else. It's self. We counting we. But that's what they're saying for true. We is for we. Them is for them. They don't count nobody else. It's for the self. So that just came out of the National Assembly, folks, where our colleagues, our members of parliament, we're speaking to several bills and motions. You know, they've talked about some of the things that are going to be coming up, including that ganja bill. They're looking to lift the legal amount from 30 grams with no penalty to have from 15 rather to 30 grams. But the Rastafarian community is asking for much more than that. Much more than that. That's why the folks are out there voicing their concerns on that ganja bill. You have also the COI, we told you is happening currently. We're going to take a look at that a little later on at 5 o'clock. We bring you an update on that. At 5 o'clock, we're going to bring you an update on that, on what's been happening at the COI at 5 o'clock on our social media platforms. And then, of course, we have our eyes on what's happening at Parliament. Our eyes are trained, folks, on what is happening at Parliament. And this latest salvo, I don't know a motion, probably one or two. I don't even think it's a handful. One or two of the countless motions that have come before the National Assembly that the Speaker has allowed. I don't know of any in any great number, probably one or two. It's always of no urgency and public importance. Never. I know the one for clean voters lists, the latest. But yet he's being paid taxpayers' money. Yours and mine, Vanessa Wardeen, Yvonne Ramasar. Wasting taxpayers' money. And you can't debate anything of substance. Flood
They want to hear about flood. It's not urgent of no public importance or interest. The day after they disallowed that bill, their president here finally declared a national emergency with flood is concerned. Never interested in anything of quality and substance to discuss, to debate in the National Assembly. But of course, them boys for them. Them boys is for them. Them boys is for them. But we got to keep at it, folks. We got to keep at it. We got to keep at it. Boots on the ground, the very way our Rastafarian brothers and sisters are doing, lobbying for their interests, pressing rubber to the asphalt, making their voices heard. We got to do it on a consistent basis. On a consistent basis. And that's why we've been out here for 2 years, making our voices heard as well, amplifying other voices, and all the while bringing you folks valid and credible information. Valid and credible information. And we can't do it without you, good folks. We can't do it without you. And that's why, again, with your indulgence, again, folks, we encourage you folks to partner with us so that we can continue to bring you valid, credible information. We are available on Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, MMG, MoneyGram, Western Union. The number you want to call if you have any queries, 627-6963. And there isn't a donation too small that we cannot accept, or too big. We got the capacity for big donations as well, but there's none too small. And you know, folks, I think there's a general thought out there that we only give shout outs to people who donate to our programs. Folks, stop that. Once you put a comment and we giving people shout out, your name can be mentioned. Donation or no donation. So don't think like that. And don't run with the idea too, because some folks think because thousands of people watch us on social media, oh my God, we must be overflowing here with money. Folks, let me disabuse you from that kind of thinking. Let me disabuse you. And some of you think, oh, well, a lot of people must be giving, so me 5 cents wouldn't count. Every cent matters here, folks. And sometimes it's a difference between staying on air and coming off. So letting you know again, we're available on Cash App and PayPal, Zelle, MMG, MoneyGram, Western Union, 627-6963. If you have any queries, each donation, folks, goes towards building out these programs bigger and better. So you guys can continue to have valid, credible information. That's our time, folks. That's on the program. We're going to pick you up back at the 5 o'clock hour when we have that update on the COI. Join us at 5 for that update out of the COI. We're going to be publishing some stuff out on credible sources. Look out for that. And we're going to join you back at the 8 o'clock hour as well. That final broadcast for today on our affiliate program In the Ring. Thanks for being such a great audience and a gracious audience for our podcast. Below the belt, Who Flex News. Thanks for joining us, each and every one of you. Thanks, Ayabo, for joining us, and Ivan Ramasar. Thanks to each and every one of you taking the time out, spending this hour with us. It's our privilege having you, Claire, Alexis, Charmley, Richmond, Fred Anderson. Good to have you, and all the other guys. Thanks for being such a great audience. Share the damn live, smash that emoji button, folks, and please partner with us as well. That's our time. That's our program. Stay safe.